That's right, I said it. Your sleep is trash, but I am here to help you. It doesn't have to stay that way. So today we are talking about how to improve our sleep habits and several actionable tips to help you get better rest. But where are my manners? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm really excited about today's topic because number one, I love to sleep and I love feeling rested. So today, let's talk about healthier sleep habits. According to the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it is estimated that 1 in 3 adults is not getting enough sleep. That translates to approximately 84 million people. So trust me when I say you are not alone. There are many people who report difficulty sleeping well, who report troubles with falling asleep and staying asleep at night. And there are a lot of people because of that who report feeling exhausted throughout the day. But how do you know if you're actually getting enough sleep? Well, according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, it is recommended that adults get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep each and every night. However, it is important to understand that your individual sleep needs and sleep requirements can vary from one adult to the next due to things like where you live, how old you are, and what type of lifestyle you have. I personally aim for 7 hours of sleep during the week and about 8 hours of sleep on the weekends just for a little extra rest. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that 7 hours is realistic? Do you feel like you're never going to get that much sleep, or do you feel like you're already surpassing that? Let me know. Drop a comment below. I think it's also important to talk about what are some of the negative effects from not sleeping well, from not having good quality sleep each night. Lack of adequate sleep can lead to things like impaired cognitive function. So this is your ability to think, to concentrate, to pay attention, to focus. It also contributes to difficulty in remembering things and retaining information. It can lead to changes in our mood. So things like mood swings, irritability, and increased stress levels. Another downside is it can weaken your overall immune system, making you more susceptible for getting sick and contracting different illnesses, viruses, and infections. Also, people see decreased motor skills. I think that goes without saying, but when you're exhausted, you have poorer coordination and reaction times. This leads to an increased risk for accidents and injuries. You'll see decreased productivity and performance. This is partly due to brain fog and also negative effects on your mental health. Sleep deprivation can lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. So it goes without saying, all of those things, it is important that we get adequate, high quality sleep. I personally know so many people and patients who complain of all of those things that I just listed. And sometimes we just chalk it up to, oh, we're getting old, or, oh, I know that, my life is just really busy, so that's why I'm having these symptoms. But sometimes it can be linked to poor sleep habits. And typically, instead of improving our sleep habits, we reach for things like coffee that's loaded with caffeine. And we just say, no, I just need this. And I need this pick me up. Nothing else works. But sometimes we haven't address the root cause. Caffeine is treating the symptoms that you're having, but it's not getting to the underlying reason why you're having the symptoms in the first place. So let's get into some more conservative, holistic ways that you can start to improve your sleep habits and get better rest at night so that you can wake up feeling more energized and ready to tackle your day. So today we're going to go through 10 things that you can start to do. Some of them you can start to implement and do starting today. So no excuses. Some of the other ones may take a little bit of planning, a little bit of preparation, but all of these are fairly simple and pretty affordable options. Number one, having a consistent sleep schedule. This refers to the time that you go to bed and the time that you wake up in the mornings. This helps to regulate your body's internal clock, known as your circadian rhythm. You're starting to train your body, you're starting to train your brain to start to wind down every day at a certain time and also wake up at a certain time. I have actually gotten to the point where now my body is so trained, oftentimes I'm waking up right before, literally right before, 5 to 15 minutes before my alarm goes off. But I will admit, I still keep my alarm on. I still make sure that it's set every night before I go to bed because I keep my alarm in my bathroom. And so it is something that forces me to get up out of bed because I can wake up and still lay in bed. So this is something that I have used to help me get out of the bed, make me have to move my body and walk to the bathroom to turn it off. And that typically helps me to get my day started. Do you guys do that too? Or is it just me? I have to have something that gets me out of the bed. I can wake up and lay in bed for an hour or two. So having something to actually get me out of the bed where I need to turn on the light is actually really, really helpful. So use that if you feel like it's beneficial. So I encourage you to look at your day. Look at what your schedule looks like. Remember, all of these things have to be tailored and individualized to you specifically. There is no one size fits all. What may work, what time frame may work for somebody else may not work necessarily for you. So look at your day, see where you can start to plan in. You know what? Around 10 p.m. is a good downtime for me where I can start to unwind for bed. For some of you, it will be a little bit earlier, and for some of you, it will be late, just depending on the logistics of your own life. And remember what we said before, we're aiming for a minimum of 7 hours. So make sure whether it's from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., later or earlier, make sure that you're aiming, if you're going to be scheduling this in and thinking about it, that you're trying to incorporate a minimum of 7 hours. And I think while we're here, it's important for me to acknowledge and remind you all that 7 hours of sleep is the minimum, and that's what we want to aim for. However, there are certain seasons in your life where you may not be getting 7 hours just due to the nature of things that are going on. It is okay, but being mindful of it, having an awareness of it is the first step. So give yourself some grace and do what works for you. Which brings us to our next tip, which is to invest in a good mattress and pillows. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention those things in a video talking about better sleep habits. I recommend that if you are in the market for a mattress specifically, that you go to at least 2 stores to try out different mattresses and to have an experience where you talk to 2 different sales associates. Now, I know some people like to go and try things out and they don't want anybody talking to them or trying to sell them anything. And so I do think that they offer a bit of knowledge that is not common to everyone. So there's some insights and some education that you can gain from them. Some people prefer more of a firm mattress. Some people prefer a softer mattress. And some people, like myself, stick in the middle somewhere. I remember when I went mattress shopping, they actually had this cool device where you could lay down. They had you lay down on this like pretend bed, and it would tell you where your specific pressure points were and what type of mattress would be better suited to you. And the mattress game has really evolved over the years because there are spring mattresses that have the coils on the inside, but then there's also memory foam and so many other things. So really get out there and see what works best for you. But not everyone is in the market for a new mattress. Mattresses can get expensive. So a great alternative, if you have a mattress that you don't necessarily think works best for you, but you have to make the best with what you've got, start to invest in things like mattress toppers. Those things can actually change the quality of your sleep drastically. 2 other options that you can try to make your bed more comfortable is using things like down comforters and duvets. So look into those things. If you have a certain bed that you love, I've heard people rave about the purple mattress. I've heard people rave about Sleep Number mattresses. There's so many out there. So if you have one that you recommend that really has worked for you, drop that below in the comments too. Let's help somebody out. That brings us to number 3, which is to have a cooler temperature in your home once it's time to go to bed. I actually heard about this many years ago in passing, and then I heard it again more recently on Jay Shetty's podcast. Research actually shows that by cooling the temperature down in your house, it actually can help to support better sleep quality. It helps to support the body's natural drop in temperature while we sleep. It not only helps with falling asleep, but actually keeping you asleep longer so that you're not waking up in the middle of the night. And have you guys ever tried falling asleep when it's muggy or humid or hot? It's very uncomfortable, so this one makes sense. It's important to remember here that cool temperatures are subjective depending on the person. For one person, 65 might be cool. For another person, 70 might be cool. For me personally, I like to aim for 70 to 71 degrees in my house when I sleep, and that is cool enough. That is not including a fan. I do know that some people are dead set on having a fan blowing on them when they're asleep, so take that into consideration. And on the flip side, I I know some people, some family members who have to sleep with a mini fan, not a mini fan, a mini heater on them. That's the only way that they know how to get to sleep. So take into consider your personal requirements. But I do say, if you want to try it, try something different from what you're used to doing and see how it works. Give it a few weeks, give it a couple weeks to see if it actually is something that works for you. And if not, go back to what you were doing before, if you are getting good sleep. Now, I'm going to tell you guys here. So like I said, I dropped my temperature at nighttime so that I can sleep better. I was at a point where I was snuggling up because it was cool. I wanted to wrap myself up like a burrito. And it got to the point where I was still waking up in the middle of the night because then I was getting too hot. So just something to take into consideration. Don't wrap yourself up too tight at night. Don't snuggle up under so many layers, even when it's cool, because your body will adjust and you don't want to overheat while you're sleeping. Now, if you're someone who has a hard time falling asleep, some people, they can fall asleep, but they can't stay asleep. Some people have more of a problem falling asleep in the first place. If that is you, the rest of these points you're going to want to pay attention to. Number 4 is aromatherapy. This is incorporating the use of scent, of things that smell nice, that smell refreshing, that smell relaxing, to aid in rest and relaxation. When used for sleep, it can help promote a sense of calm, a feeling of peace, which in turn makes it easier to fall asleep. Scent is actually something that spas rely on quite frequently to help promote an environment of rest, of feeling zen, of feeling at balance and at peace, of promoting restoration and relaxation. From a physiological stance, it helps to promote and trigger serotonin, which helps us to relax. We talked about the importance of consistency in your bedtime routine, and this is a really great way to help signal to your body that it's time to start unwinding, that it's time to start getting and preparing our bodies to go to sleep. Your mind will start to create an association with that scent and the need to get ready to unwind and start to prepare to go to bed. And I love a home that smells good, but I am not a huge fan of candles, your traditional candles, or plugins that go into the wall. Typically, I aim for incense, reed diffusers, or an oil diffuser. And typically, when it comes to sleep, I tend to lean towards incense or my oil diffuser. It just gives me better control of using it during a certain time period, whereas reed diffusers, you have to keep them in and they just kind of evaporate over time. Now, I love my oil diffuser. It was gifted to me by an amazing friend and I use it quite often. I love it in particular for 2 main reasons. Number 1, it has a timer, and number 2, it has different light modes, so it really does help to create a vibe and a overall environment of just peace. And I absolutely love using essential oils as a healthier alternative to candles and plug-ins. For sleep in particular, you want to lean more towards essential oils like chamomile, lavender, and jasmine. I've been using an essential oil mix called Pillow Potion, and it has lavender, sweet orange, hops, patchouli, yarrow, and chamomile, German chamomile. So I will link that below for you guys. I've been using it for myself and for my son. It smells so good and so relaxing. So I love using it before bedtime. Number 5 is to turn off your devices at least an hour before bedtime. This is something that we've all heard time and time again, but it's still something that we don't typically adhere to, especially when it comes to our cell phones. So here you want to turn off your cell phone, turn off the tablets, even turn off your TV. You want to start creating an environment where your body can start to wind down and begin to rest. I think sometimes we focus more on physically sitting down, and so we're like, oh, well, I'm sitting down and I'm on my phone, or I'm sitting down and I'm watching TV. But a lot of it is mentally being able to turn our minds off and start to wind them down from all of the stressors of the day, from thinking about this, that, and the third. So in this time period, once you turn off your devices, do things that are relaxing to you. It could be reading a book, journaling, doing some meditation or yoga, doing some breath work, or just sitting in the peace and quiet and listening to some relaxing music. All of that blue light from our devices actually inhibits some of the things that we need our body to be doing to help us to go to sleep. Things like melatonin that we hear about all the time. Blue light actually suppresses that, and that's the hormone that helps to regulate our sleep. Which takes us to number 6, an hour before bed, start to dim the lights in your home. This can also help with melatonin production, that hormone that helps to regulate our sleep. And that's right, melatonin, you guys have heard me say it a few times, it is something that you can purchase over the counter at your drugstore. However, it is something that our bodies naturally produce, so we want to do things to help our bodies do what they're supposed to. In conjunction with the previous point, dimming the lights an hour before bed is also another way to trigger your body to see that it's time to start winding down. It's time to start getting ready for bed. It's time to start relaxing. It's something that also mimics the natural setting of the sun. Now, for me personally, once the sun goes down outside, I do not turn bright lights on in my house, except maybe my bathroom. Outside of that, I have dim lights that I can use in my living room, in my bedroom, in my son's bedroom, and in the kitchen. Now, if you don't have dimmable lights, that is not a problem. Invest in some lamps. Lamps are very affordable now. I love lamps, specifically because nowadays they have lamps that have 2 to 3 different brightness settings or that dim, and you can do some of them even from your phone where it's connected via Wi-Fi. Another point that I want to add in with this one of dimming the lights is to make sure that when you go to sleep, try to make it as dark as possible. There's tons of research that supports sleeping in dark environments, and so you want to lean into that. They have blackout curtains for a reason. That is actually really important for those of you who work at night and sleep during the daytime. I recently had to purchase some furnishings for a project that I was working on last year, and so I actually found some really cute dimmable lamps and some really amazing blackout curtains, so I'll link that down in the description box. Number 7, drink herbal tea before bedtime. Okay, so and you guys don't know this, but you're gonna know it today. I am a tea girl. I love drinking tea. I've never been a big coffee drinker, but tea, I love a good tea. Caffeine generally just makes me feel really uncomfortably bloated, so I've always leaned more towards tea, but it is important to note that there are teas out there that do contain caffeine. It just typically never bothers me to the extent that the caffeine in coffee does. Herbal teas often contain ingredients like chamomile and lavender, similar to what we talked about with the essential oils of chamomile and lavender. All of those things support rest and relaxation. And with tea, not only is it hydrating, it also helps to soothe your digestive system. Drinking something warm or hot can help you to relax. It's like a big warm hug at the end of a long day. And by the nature of drinking something warm, hot before bedtime, it forces you to kind of naturally slow down because you have to sip it a little bit carefully. So that in itself helps to promote an environment and a feeling of peace. And just a side note, when it comes to tea, I definitely prefer drinking herbal loose leaf tea as opposed to tea that comes in the tea bag. While I definitely understand the convenience aspect of having tea bags versus loose leaf tea, when I'm at home, I typically opt for loose leaf tea. So I've been drinking loose leaf tea for quite some time now. The cup that I have is adorable. I will link it below. I actually found it on Amazon. I bought it at a specialty store, but I found it on Amazon. It has lots of different colors and designs, so I'll link that below. And then I love tea samplers. Similar to like perfume, I love travel size things. I like to test things out before I buy full size, so I'll link the loose leaf tea sampler box that I purchased that I am in love with, and then from there you can buy bigger sizes and bigger quantities of the ones that you really love. That brings us to number 8, which is yoga. And hear me out with this one. This is not your typical warrior pose yoga, okay? Now, if you didn't know this about me, you're gonna learn something new. Again, I love to move my body. I am a firm believer that we are meant to move our bodies. Movement is very therapeutic and healing. I don't believe in letting, anxious energy, tension, all of those things sit in our bodies. So I do believe that movement is a way to release all of that. When it comes to yoga in particular, it will always have a very special place for me. It's so calming. It really forces you to look inward. It really forces you to focus, to slow down, to focus on your breath, to practice patience and strength. I just overall am a huge fan of it. So I was participating in a 30-day movement challenge. I think it was like do 30 minutes of movement of some sort for 30 days. And on days where I just had a really long day and I needed to get something in at night, but I was not in the mood to do strength training or cardio or anything like that, I started to lean into yoga. I saw something pop up on YouTube about yoga for stress relief, yoga for sleep. And so I started doing them, and y'all, it was so good. The two videos that I will show here on the screen in particular were the two that I was like, oh yes, I love this. It was so good. I literally could have fallen asleep on the floor. So if you're hesitant, just trust me and try at least one of these two from this YouTuber. I will link her page down below. I love her content, especially for rest. So just try it and thank me later. Number 9 is using a weighted blanket. I actually had not ever heard of a weighted blanket until I had my son. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a blanket that's heavier, that has weight to it to help promote sleep and rest. It is something that has helped tons of people not just rest and relax, but actually sleep better. And it actually pairs really well with the point that I made about lowering the temperature, because using a weighted blanket, due to the heaviness of it, can make you a bit warmer. So having the offset and the balance of a cooler temperature actually marries well together. And this is something that they have for children and adults. These blankets provide a sort of gentle pressure. You may hear the term deep touch pressure stimulation. And this just helps to promote relaxation and relieve feelings of tension, anxiety, and stress. And I think we can all use that. The pressure is said to stimulate serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that helps with the relaxation and rest. It sort of just overall calms your nervous system, which helps to aid in better sleep quality. So if it's something that you've tried before, definitely let me know. I'll link the one that I purchased for my son, but then they also have the adult version. Just make sure you pick the proper size and weight specific to you. And there's a guideline that you can follow. And that brings us to our last tip, which is sleep sound. I stand by using sleep sounds to promote better sleep, to not only help you fall asleep, but to stay asleep. This is another thing that I never really considered or thought about until I had my son. We purchased it to help make sure that he was sleeping well, and I was like, this thing is working for me too. They're super affordable and you can purchase them on Amazon. I'll link the one that I have. My son knows how to use it now. I tell him, go turn on your rain sounds. He knows exactly what to do. I like it because it also comes with a little bit of a night light. You can choose to turn that feature on or off. I like it for him because he does not like to sleep in pitch black darkness when he's by himself. But if he's with me, he will sleep any type of way. But I always like to have alternatives for you guys. So if you're not in the market to purchase a sleep sound machine, you can always use your cell phone. We have so much technology already with us that we need to learn how to use to optimize our well-being. So if you have something like Spotify, I love Spotify because your screen can turn off and it's still going to play. I don't know if YouTube videos will play. So there are YouTube playlists that are like 10 hours long that have sleep sounds, but I don't know once your screen turns off at night if it's going to turn off the video too. So that's something you'll have to look into. I'm not a techie like that, but I do know that with my Spotify playlist, there are tons of playlists there. You just have to type in sleep sound playlist and find what works for you. For some people, it's white noise, there's pink noise, there's brown noise. For my son and I, typically it's rain sounds or like ocean sounds. That works for me like a charm every single time. And as I mentioned before, all of the things that I've listed in this video, I have provided links down below in the description box, so feel free to check that out. But if by any chance I missed something, please let me know and I will take care of you. But out of all of those things, you can try all of these things. The main thing that is going to help you to see results is to be consistent with them. We're not aiming for perfection, but you do need to try to utilize these tips consistently. So my recommendation is not to try to do all 10 of them at once. If that's what you want to do, that's your business. But I really do recommend trying 1 to 3 of these things and doing them consistently to see if they're working. And if not, then replace replacing it with something else. I am always going to advocate for trying more conservative, holistic measures prior to introducing people to things that you can purchase over the counter medicinally, or even prescribing prescription medication. Sometimes it is as simple as making these few small tweaks, and then you don't need to do those things. But I do understand we live in a society where people want a quick fix. That is just not something that I promote here on my channel. So try some of these things out first. Give it a couple weeks. Try and see if some of these things will help you. I guarantee you something on this list will make a difference for you. But if you are trying all of these things consistently and you really are still having difficulty sleeping at night, I highly encourage you to go and talk to your healthcare provider to see what your next steps are. So let me know, did I miss anything? If you feel like I missed something that has worked for you or a family member, please drop it below in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it has provided some value to you. I hope that you have found this information useful. If it's not something that you struggle with, but you know someone who does, feel free to share this video with them to help them sleep easier and better. As always, I am a new YouTuber, and so to help support me on this journey, please, if you feel inclined to do so, feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel. That really does help me as a small YouTuber, and share this video with a friend. If there are any other topics that you guys would like to hear me address or give my take on, feel free to let me know, and I will definitely take them into consideration. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Until the next video.